Unable to contain our energy any longer, we rush outside the school building to set up base for the upcoming clash. As we do, I begin to give out more detailed directives regarding our lineup. Tactical command of base defense will fall on Noletta. Noletta, the flag and stockpile are separate locations, so make sure at least one person is guarding each at all times. Assign the quickest person to pressure relief should one location get focused down. Okay. This measure was necessary since I'd be concentrating my attention on directing the strike team. Tell us what to do, Noletta. We won't let them through. Triss, I want you to be the strike team's vanguard. Don't make any attempts on objectives unless I order it. Just concentrate on picking someone off on their base defense. Once you poke a hole in the enemy's defenses, I'll direct how we push in. Triss shivers with excitement as he takes a deep breath and nods. The Laritz thrived under high pressure of spearheading assaults, jumping on opponents the moment they showed a window of vulnerability. Oh, is that what they thrive under, huh? It was very much a high-risk reward form of approach, which was why the support-savvy Lerona was invaluable for safely securing any leverage we generated. Lerona, be sure to stick close to Triss so you can follow up on his takedowns and back him up if he gets blindsided. You gotta be careful saying that with a blind girl nearby. She might not appreciate that. Okay. Be prepared to commit to a full-on assault at my signal. After going over defensive contingencies, should our base be overrun, I turned to survey the battlefield. Our strike team was a highly concentrated one. Rather than spreading out our attackers, it aimed to overwhelm and spill into one section of the enemy's base. As such, it was good for surgical strikes and maintaining offensive momentum should even a single defensive rampart fall. The main reason I selected this team composition was because it was well equipped at avoiding Erwina and attacking the areas she wasn't defending. This comp did have its share of weaknesses, though. It was easier for the enemy to surround us, and had weak ambient battleground presence for deterring attacks or relieving pressure on our own base. A lot depended on Noletta's base defense to hold the line for this strategy to be successful, so this is good. In case the main character loses, we can blame Noletta. Upon completing our preparations, we line up to face the red team's camp. Seeing that both sides are ready for action, Mr. Neral lifts his hand to announce the commencement of the game.
One last thing before we begin. There is a trump card hidden somewhere on the battlefield.
Before his hand descends, though, a devilish smile plays over Mr. Neral's face as he inserts a sudden addendum to the game.
Whoever discovers this trump card will be granted a powerful advantage. If you find your team on the verge of defeat, search for this trump card to turn the tide of battle.
That's our teacher for you, adding a wild card right as the game is about to begin to generate the maximum amount of hype.
Your only hint is as follows. Look through the sky to find the pure purpose of this school.
The tension-saturated battlefield stirred at Mr. Neral's cryptic words.
Now begin.
Cutting that tension with a grand arc of his hand, Mr. Neral releases us at last. There's no time to dawdle on Mr. Neral's riddle. Wait a minute, they were supposed to stick together. They ran in opposite directions. This plan's already failing. Almost immediately, Triss explodes into action with Lerona and me following close behind. Crossing up the opponents that had advanced to attack, he weaves an oblique pattern through the enemy formation and crashes aggressively against their defenses. Pop. Tripping up one of the defenders that moves forward to meet him, Triss opens up an opportunity for Lerona to follow up and pop their balloon. Did he actually trip them? Our defender left manning the red team's flag, while the stockpile appeared to be unguarded, an unwise choice. Though the name of the game is Capture the Flag, in this version a flag is only worth 10 balloons. Given enough time and personnel, you can pop all of a team's balloons if you attack their stockpile, making it a far much valuable objective. We'll let it go. Charge the stockpile! I order an audacious charge to take advantage of our lightning fast breach of the enemy's defenses. They're in an open field, and there's not really much defense. Diving deep into the heart of the enemy camp, we eliminate the final defender by drawing him into a pincer as he hastily rushes to intercept us from his post on the flag. Pop as many of the stockpile balloons as you can. Just as Triss reaches for an enemy balloon, though, something strange happens. A rod extends from the cluster of red balloons, lightly tapping Triss on the side. Like a sprung trap, a hand erupts from within, scattering the balloons in its wake. Catching and redirecting his momentum with practiced ease, it drives Triss straight into the ground. It was Erwina! Did she... Was she hiding in the balloons? But just as she lashes out to finish him, Kya, Lorona manages to heave him out of the way before collapsing onto the ground herself. Crap, I had predicted Erwina would be on base defense. Why hadn't I considered the possibility of an ambush? I don't know. To be fair, I didn't consider the possibility of an ambush. Our offensive's momentum had stalled completely in the face of our veritable opponent. You shall not pass. With a declaration conveying absolute conviction, Erwina pounds her cane into the ground. I get it. A light touch with that thing was all she needed to confirm your position and take you down. That Triss had survived was a miracle. No matter how I looked at it, we were thoroughly outmatched. Taking Erwina head-on wasn't an option. Are we serious right now, though? It wouldn't be long before the other defenders acquired new balloons and reinforced her, turning this into a losing battle. Retreat and go for the flag. Recalling we had eliminated its guard, I shouted our team to redirect our efforts. But Erwina is the first to react to my order. Dashing forward to catch us, her rod chases... her rod chases after Triss and Lorona as they desperately try to scramble around her. They can't get away without help. Eyeing Erwina's movements, I circle around to get an angle on her back before lunging forward with a deliberately loud stomp. Oh my god. Reacting with lightning speed, Erwina swivels around and checks my motion, her rod hovering mere inches from my chest. It was no exaggeration to say the radius around Erwina's person was a no man's land. If I had misjudged the distance and stopped any shorter, I'd be a goner right now. Realizing Triss and Lorona had used the distraction to peel off, I promptly disengage as well and make a run for the flag. Ruby won! Now! Ruby! Interpreting Erwina's cry as a panic signal, I hastily grab the red flag and start to fall back with the rest of the strike team. Watch out, Ade! Before we can even clear the enemy camp, though, a blur of movement flits in the corner of my eye. Thanks to Lorona's warning, I managed to duck just as a foot sails through the air and threatens to lop off my head. So, yeah, so she's bad. If she's just going for Liu Kang cross kicks. It was Kalia, with her customary lack of chill. Oh. Utilizing her trademark speed, she had rotated back to defend in the blink of an eye. Oh, Jesus. As Kalia advances to follow up on her whiff, Triss jumps in to intervene, tumbling to the ground with her in the process. So that should have popped both of their balloons, right? At that moment, two red team members swoop in from behind to try and finish Triss off as he grapples with Kalia on the ground. I don't think wrestling is allowed in Capture the Flag. I could be wrong, but I think they should be disqualified. Lorona cuts in to shield him, but it's clear she's outnumbered. The red team's base defense had recovered and was attacking from behind. With the red offense cutting us off from the front and the red defense pressuring us from behind, we were completely surrounded. Go, Ade! We'll hold them off! Oh, what a sacrifice. Grasping that we can't avoid taking casualties, I abandon my teammates and take off with due speed. I keep my eyes peeled as I approach our flag holding ground with the capture can, where the capture can be solidified if I manage to make it. That's when I perceive two people closing in on me from both flanks at once. It was the rest of the red team's assault squad. They have like 4 people. Where are they coming from? Judging that they'd catch me before I'd make it back home, I juke to the side at the last moment, causing them to skid off course. They quickly regain balance before resuming their pursuit of me, though. There's no way I can outrun them while encumbered by this flag, and I'm still too far away. At this rate, my comrades' sacrifices will be in vain. Just as the duo leaps at me, though, a strong gust blows past my face. Oh, Jesus. A figure had placed itself between me and the encroaching enemies, utterly laying one out and stopping the other dead in their tracks. It was Noletta. The opponent in her grasp, crumples spectacularly as she overpowers him, allowing the two under her command to neutralize the arrested enemy's balloons. Oh my god, like, has she got people in, like, a headlock or something? It looks like she made the decision to abandon base defense to converge on and secure the flag. Lerona and Triss are down. The red team is mobilizing to launch a counterattack. We'll hold them back. Hurry-ade. Nodding quietly at Noletta's back, I waste no time in leaving my companions behind, placing my trust in them as they stand their ground. Upon arriving at our flag holding area, I plant the enemy flag into the ground and shout out, "Red flag capture complete."
The blue team has successfully captured the red team's flag. As stipulated in the rules, I will now proceed to pop 10 of the balloons in the red team's stockpile.
As I turn back to confirm the situation, I feel my jaw dropping in disbelief at what I see. Kalia was hurtling down the battlefield at breakneck speed, which wasn't unusual in itself. It was the fact that a certain someone was tailing behind her that defied all expectation.
Ruby 1 commencing delivery of the package. Aqua at 2 o'clock, get him, Erwina.
Planting her feet, Kalia uses her body as a fulcrum to pivot and swing her package out ahead of her. With one hand gripping Kalia's dangling sleeve, Erwina reaches out with her rod to confirm Lemmy's location before sweeping his legs out from under him with blinding swiftness. This is, like, real... I guess here's the violence. There was a violence tag, and here it is. This is brutal. Then, after pulling Kalia in to land the killing stomp, Erwina lets Kalia propel her to her next target in a deadly dance that rapidly mows down the rest of Noletta's base defense team. It's like something lifted straight out of a nightmare. The freedom that Kalia's slack sleeve offered in conjunction with her blazing speed had allowed for a scenario I had never imagined: the rapid deployment of Erwina on the front lines. Capturing the flag and resetting to neutral would have granted us a war of attrition, where the red team would be pressured to commit to disadvantageous offensives. But we had expended too many resources in pursuit of that objective. They were employing their most powerful asset at the optimal time, while we were still weak from our blitz gambit. This Kalia-Erwina delivery combo was the perfect counteroffensive for punishing our overextension. Looking over our stockpile, I catch sight of Triss and Lerona attempting to tie on new balloons. But the two red defense members from before had followed them and were popping balloons left and right as they attempted to revive. "We're getting camped!" With a yelp, Lerona dives out of the way as Kalia and Erwina arrive to capitalize on the red team stalling. As the only one alive, I could only watch on powerlessly as the red team ignored our flag and went straight for the throat. When Noletta and her team returned to try and revive, Lerona and Triss managed to slip out with balloons and rejoin me. But even then, we don't have the forces to retake our lost ground. Contending with the unstoppable Kalia-Erwina juggernaut was daunting enough, but we also had a numbers disadvantage. Yeah, one of your teammates got killed because he got stomped. What should we do? The hope seemed to be fading from Lerona's eyes. Yeah, what a great teammate. Gives up the first sign of any disadvantage. It's adversity. Buck up. But giving up now wasn't an option. See? Bate bio. Ganbate. Whatever it is. Weep talk. We're abandoning base. Wipe out their stockpile. If we can't defend, then we'll just have to strike back. Like an empire. Red had committed all their resources to an all-out offensive, so their own stockpile was wide open. Responding to a crippling counterattack with a counterattack of our own was a desperate measure, but it was the only option we had right now. Nodding at me grimly, the blue strike team takes off to clean up the rest of the balloons in Red's stockpile. On the way, we encountered the two Red offensive members that Noletta had previously subdued, but they wisely keep their distance, opting instead to regroup with the rest of their team. When we arrive, we manage to finish the job quickly, with 10 having already been eliminated from our flag capture, but even then the situation looked bleak. With both stockpiles exhausted and all objectives rendered obsolete, the red team turns their fangs on us. The odds were an overwhelming 3 versus 6, with the red team being at full power. Taking full advantage of their numbers, the red team spreads out in a fan formation, seizing comprehensive control over the battlefield as the game enters its final phase. Slowly but surely, they press our diminutive group into a corner with safe and systemic skirmishes, giving us no chance to fight back. Though we were managing to ward off the combined attacks of Kalia's offense team and Erwina's defense team, we were growing tired under the continued harass. We had no relief options compared to the red team, who could alternate fresh bodies to keep up the siege.
It's useless, Ade. Your team's morale has fallen too low. You cannot win.
Kalia taunts us as we gradually run out of space to back up, but surrender was not an option. Even if we have to crawl, we'll never give up. There's still a way. We just need to find the trump card. I tried to rally my comrades behind that final shard of hope, but exhaustion was beginning to creep into even my voice.
Ha! Find it if you can.
Even if such a thing actually existed, there's no way it'd save you from these odds. Laughing like a despotic tyrant, Kalia continues to constrict her forces around us. Ka! Lorona cries out in fatigue as she barely manages to escape with her life after warding off a pincer attack on our flanks. Oh, Jesus.
One last thing before we begin. There is a trump card hidden somewhere on the battlefield.
Ah, it's him. Heaving deeply, Triss drags himself off the ground after being driven back by a vicious 3-man charge.
Whoever discovers the trump card will be granted a powerful advantage. If you find your team on the verge of defeat, search for this trump card to turn the tide of battle.
Isn't there anything we can do?
Your only hint is as follows. Look through the sky to find the pure purpose of this school.